Coming up this week on the Digital Lifestyle Show 816, Gary's here and we're joined by a special guest, Jacqui Garrad from the National Museum of Computing over at Bletchley Park, and we're going to be talking about the museum there, kind of stuff they've got and how you can go and get hands-on with some fantastic vintage computing, historic computing and some new stuff as well. So let's get straight to Gary and Jacqui. Jacqui, welcome to the Digital Lifestyle Show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
And we're really excited to talk to you today because you're from the National Museum of Computing over in Bletchley, museum director, and we had a fantastic day at your place a few weeks ago, and I thought it'd be great to get you on the show to talk about the museum, what kind of stuff you're doing there, what the assistance you need to keep going and everything else, and some of the amazing things that you've got there. So so welcome to the show, and I've got to say thanks very much for the tour that you gave us when we came down to see you a few weeks ago.
You are very welcome, but my first question has to be, did you leave us an awesome TripAdvisor review?
Oh, no, I haven't. I will do that straight after this call.
Wow, so you asked how people could help. I mean, that's one thing. You write your comments, you tell people whether they should come visit or not.
Yeah, absolutely, we'll do that. So let's start at the beginning.
TripAdvisor one, but I did leave you an amazing review on Twitter. So
I thank you and acknowledged. Thank you.
Yes, and I also did a bit of a video tour as well, which we put on our YouTube channel as well, so anybody can take a look at that. So they see some of the amazing stuff that you've got in there. There was so much content, I just had to compress it down into one short video because there were so many things that I recorded there. It was fantastic.
Well, that's the funny thing. I mean, it's that you guys, you get this. I think you probably understood it. You maybe came to our museum and you learned some more. But when someone says to me, Jack, why should I come and visit the National Museum of Computing? It's a museum. It's full of boxes and, things in, glass cabinets. And I have to say, well, actually, I'd like to say that we have probably the best collection of working computers on display that aren't in glass cabinets. And let's not forget, the people that are there to greet you and show you the demonstrations and show you how they work. So you walk in, you meet an awesome person that can tell you the history, why it's built, why it's there, who was involved, but it's the smell and the touch as well, the whole immersive. And we're not talking, that museum smell, or maybe you are in some areas, but it's so immersive with us.
So just start at the beginning then of what is the National Museum of Computing and where are you?
The National Museum of Computing, I would say, is most definitely one of the best computing museums in the world. It is based on the Bletchley Park estate, so the home of the code breakers. Where does our museum start? Well, it starts with a group of enthusiasts, and we would start with a Margaret Sale and a Tony Sale. And if you Google Margaret Sale and Tony Sale, trust me, you won't be disappointed. The museum has been running for a very long time. It started as, I would say, an enthusiasts club. Great minds that came together. Tony Sale was off, woke up one morning and said, I'm going to rebuild Colossus, Margaret. I mean, I'm not sure that quite happened that way, but he did. And trust me, I don't think we'll ever see another person do what he did and achieve the achievements he had with the team beside him. So our museum starts with the 1940s. So we have the full working collection of 1940s machines and computers, starting with the Turing-Welchman Bombe and Enigma, and it flows through for the history of that to the point where we managed to read that German message and the war was ended and saved, let's just say, thousands of lives. I mean, I don't think we can put a true figure. And then we follow the decades of computing and history and technology from there. So, as I said, very, very, very immersive and very hands-on. I really want people to understand that. We won't talk at you. We'll get you involved and engaged, and you can have a go. And hopefully you'll leave understanding that these exceptional people, created these inspirational computers or machines, and they all had a purpose and meaning. And kind of looking at where we were in the 1950s to where we are today and how things have evolved should inspire the next generation of scientists, mathematicians, programmers, etc.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing you mentioned there, that everything is out there that working, and you can get hands-on with it, and there's not a glass cabinet, everything locked in glass cabinets. I think that's really the most important thing, is you can come there and it's real hands-on stuff.
It is. I mean, we do, I won't lie to you, we have a very beautiful collection of calculators and slide rules. Now, they are in glass cabinets, but if you want to have a look, you just have to ask one of the volunteers, one of the guys, and they will get it out for you, and they will tell you why that's in that, in that particular place. So, yeah, I feel very proud to be part of, the team I'm in and the community, and their expertise. Every one of our volunteers has an exceptional story behind, being a guide at the museum or a demonstrator, and that brings a lot more to the museum. You have to kind of meet them to believe it.
Yeah, that was the other thing that impressed us, was the volunteers, and the first machine that you walk in, the Turing machine is, and the guy that was explaining there, he was so knowledgeable of it, but was really good at explaining it to you, so you could kind of understand it. It was fantastic. Yeah,
and when we welcome, because I'll just plug this right now, we are always looking for volunteers, by the way. It doesn't matter what age group, where you come from, we will welcome you to the museum. But a lot of these volunteers have done a lot of research or had an interest in the history or the particular machines or the era, and they've come to us and they want to share their knowledge. Knowledge transfer is so crucial and part of our mission, within our education of the museum. So yeah, no, I honestly, 10 years ago, I didn't believe or didn't even think I'd be part of such a community, and I'm blessed. So, yeah.
And so the first part really of the museum is the wartime machines and the Enigma cracking machines, and that like you said, that made such a difference. But it's also the start of the British computer revolution, and really that's one of the things I was impressed with. It's very much, your museum is very much about the British history, yeah, which is really important to keep alive, because as we get more global and everything's, yeah, it's a globalization of it all, but it's very important to keep that history alive.
It is, and again, the people, the team have brought that to us. So we were very much focused on, British computing, how it had evolved, and what our achievements were. It's very hard not to have other assets that weren't or aren't British, but there is always a link and a combination of a story that we pull together to say why we've got this particular piece of kit, and I think it's good to show comparisons, actually, because I don't think sometimes the British have sort of been quick enough to acknowledge their achievements, or we've celebrated it like maybe others. But do you know what? We've all across the world have achieved things, but we've got a lot of history under one roof. We are the world's first purpose-built data center. Colossus is bolted to the floor, but there's so much more than the code-breaking story with us, honestly. There's so much going on for all generations to come and see.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Once you got the code-breaking stuff, which was fascinating, and I think, to be honest, Gary and I have spent way longer in there than we thought. I think we expected 10 minutes in this one, 10 minutes there. I think we spent a load of time in there. I thought we haven't been anywhere else yet. Yeah. And then you go off, and then there's the big mainframe type systems you've got. So the 1950s and the 60s on, which ones I found particularly interesting, and the aesthetics of those big machines. But they must take some upkeep to keep these old 1950s, 1960s computers running.
I mean, I've been involved with the team for 9 years now, so there was a lot of work prior to me joining, and I don't do what they do best, but it's quite interesting. Yeah, I mean, our chairman Andrew Herbert decided to bring the EDSAC project, which is in the first generation gallery, and that's a project I hope that will complete and have fully running next year. But then you've got the Witch, the world's oldest computer, which actually has a Guinness World Record. But the kids, when we have the education groups, they love that, because the Witch has decatrons, the Colossus has valves, so trying to explain those different technologies. And then you've got large systems. Large systems to some people will just be a load of large boxes, but these things run. And you've got, obviously a lot of the large systems gallery we have is sort of one particular company's kind of history, because they sort of took on all of those companies. But it is pretty phenomenal when you can see them running and understand, how far we have come. The 1960s, Elliot 803, our chair of volunteers, Peter Onion, he now can link up a Raspberry Pi. So we've got, everybody knows what a Raspberry Pi is now, but we can link that to a 1960s machine and run it. That's how we try to sort of share why it's important, what it does, and keep them running. So that's pretty cool, I think. And hopefully we'll engage lots of younger people to come through.
Yeah, we actually we were playing on Colossal Cave on one of the devices, which was linked to a Raspberry Pi, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
And again, the guys there really, they were really great at explaining to you what it is, how it worked, and they were doing some maintenance work, and they were chatting away with us about it, and it was fascinating to whether you use these stuff, or whether this is all told old to you, but it's fantastic to actually be able to hear how these machines are being kept alive.
Yeah, and it's I mean, I find our volunteers phenomenal with the amount of knowledge that they have, and we're trying to sort of put together a project at the moment where we can capture them on video with their knowledge, because we'll have calls and they'll come up with the most random facts that no one had shared before, and we're like, guys, well, we need to put this on paper because this is history. But I have to say, yes, they're welcoming. I think the fact that we do restoration on site, obviously within the health and safety parameters, but I think some volunteers or some visitors like to see a volunteer, with a front off, looking at something and explaining how they're fixing it, because how do you maintain a 1960s machine, and there are very few people that can do it, hence why we want more. Just throwing that out there one more time.
We'll come back to that then. So I think by the time we'd been in the wartime and the 1950s 1960s one, Gary, we'd spent most of the morning in there.
We had, yeah. and a great, very entertaining most of the morning as well. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It really was brilliant. And you're absolutely right. I mean, your volunteers are just amazing people, and the stories they tell, it really helps that they are all great storytellers, and you can just sit and listen to them. I mean, to be honest, you almost don't need the machines there, because you just listen to the stories, and it's so engaging. It's so engaging, even for people with no technical bent at all. I mean, people who were with me who aren't technical people just loved it and really enjoyed being there. So I think it's really, really good, and fabulous place. But we wanted to move on a bit from there, didn't we? We wanted to see a bit more of the museum, and you need to give yourself a long time to visit your museum, because it is you can very easily spend all day there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because from then we wanted to move on to sort of into the sort of the 70s and 80s thing, but we'd spent most of the day in the one area.
That's the thing. I mean, we obviously, with the current sort of what's been going on in the world for the last 2 years, we had to sort of, when we decided to reopen, it was quite a brave step I feel, but we kind of scheduled 2-hour slots. But we just want people to know that actually 2 hours isn't enough. So, we don't mind you sort of coming in for a few hours, being inspired, taking a break, having some lunch and coming back in again, because there is so much to see. And, as you've probably seen or heard or felt, if you ask a question, you're going to get a really good answer, but it's not a one-word answer. We've got too much to share, and we want to continue doing that. So...
And then, moving sort of down up in the timeline, down to the areas, you've got a massive collection of the home computers of the sort of the micro era of the 80s, Spectrums and everything else. But and once again, everything is powered on, switched on, hooked up to a monitor or a TV, and you can play with these things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are 16 galleries within the museum, and we really, again, to reiterate, hands-on. The experience has got to be immersive. We want you to, quite often people will go, oh, those keys, those rubber keys, I remember those rubber keys. What machine am I talking about? Would it be a Spectrum? I don't know.
One of them over there.
Yeah, it's really exciting because you hear it from the corridor. Oh my goodness, I've forgotten how these felt. So no, we put quite a diverse collection of the personal computing era on, and we've got some static machines, but we rotate them round. Obviously, we're looking to sort of in December through to March, upgrade some of the galleries. But I think it's really important when you get a parent, maybe my age in their 40s, and then they bring a son or a daughter 8 to 10, 12. and they go, this is where I started, this was my first gaming. And the sheer frustration because it's so slow, because kids of today are, they've got really fast games that I can't keep up with. But it's really nice when you have that nostalgia and you can share it with your kids or your grandparents. I love that kind of connecting, if that makes sense, because as a grandparent, my granddaughter will play on an iPad on a game that I cannot fathom, even though she tries to explain. But when she comes to the museum and we play on a BBC Micro, for example, we'll play a game, or just program BBC Snake, then we can do that together. And I think that's crucial. Spend time with your kids and see what they can do and help them grow.
Yeah, I think so. I think it then can spark that enthusiasm, or spark that in their kids' imagination to see how things have progressed and to see where they can go with it in the future. Because you've also got things, it's not just the computer, you've got like the internet, the history of the internet almost in there. And I think, for a lot of kids who just assume that we've always had the internet, that to show the timeline of that as well is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and it's, when we started looking at like kind of personal computing, obviously, we go through air traffic control, simulation gallery, etc., then the internet. If you say to, the younger students that come through the education program, you have a mobile phone, and they'll say, yes, Jacqui, I do. And it's got lots of apps on it. Yes. Well, it came with this, or I just download them. But do you understand where they've come from? Someone has created those. They've built those. They've designed them. That could be you building that next app, that next platform. Oh, is your phone a computer is a great question. Well, of course it's not. Are you sure it's not a computer? And it's funny to spark those debates, because they tell you they want to be a graphic designer or a games designer, or, the best mathematician or scientist. But helping them understand how you get there and how things have developed is really, really important, I think. And even when we get, corporate team building events come in, to show a team of staff that they've got the latest laptop to work on to send their emails, and then show them what you used back in the 1970s, 80s, etc. It's pretty impressive. People are very lucky today, I think. There's very fast, quick technology, but maybe not quite as, it doesn't bring people together as much. I think it's all done for us, isn't it?
Yeah. And even just some of the, like you said, the short attention, or everything has to be so instant. When you're getting a game on a Spectrum, you used to wait 10, 20 minutes for it to load up, and then you would play it because you wouldn't switch to something else because it takes too long. Whereas I think, almost now everything's there on demand, so easy to swap and change. You perhaps don't get immersed in it like you did when you were in them.
But I will, and I know you guys probably both get it, but actually we're going back to basics and doing quite a lot on this. So we're going to create a vintage programming club. So this is going to be a free opportunity for people to come and learn, the old ways of, building programs or developing programs. But also I've got to tell you this, a young 17-year-old female wanting to volunteer at the museum, and she's going to learn to build retro games from scratch for the Commodore and the VIC-20. And this, she wasn't phased. So she came up and said, I want to build, retro games or whatever. I said, how about starting here? And she wants to, how amazing that is to be able to bring a young female into our team. And she wants to help younger people by doing this, so you can build your game and then they can play it together. That for me is awesome. It makes me smile, actually. I can't stop smiling about it. So yeah, it's about creating opportunities, I think, and developing minds of whatever age. So,
and then you've even got sort of the like the classroom of the 80s with the BBC Micros in, which looks familiar to someone of my age. But I'm guessing, you get school kids in there, and this is like, what is this? They can't quite understand it.
I have to say, our learning team are phenomenal, and we've just been awarded. I've got to tell you this because I'm really proud of this, but we've just been awarded the Sanford Award, which is a very prestigious award for organisations like us when you run an exceptional learning programme that's kind of mapped alongside the curriculum. So really proud to the team. But actually, I thought personally when I first joined that the kids, whether they're, 11 upwards, would come in and they do their session in the classroom and they'd go, oh, God. But a lot of the kids say, where can we get one of these from? Believe it or not, in my day, we had one BBC Micro between 28 of us. And if you got an hour a month, you were lucky. I mean, maybe that's an exaggeration. But actually, kids come in and they do a whole session and they program, the old Snake game. which, you know, for me, when I first got my Nokia phone and I had the Snake game on it, it was so intense, you know. So yeah, we do take kids back to basics, and we obviously do activities that are, you know, current, but I think it's really important to look back at history and what we've done and how it's evolving. But the classroom, yeah, it's one of my favorite spaces, actually. Very good for nostalgia for that one, definitely.
And you've not just got old technology now, you've got some new things as well, to new technology.
Yeah, so we are very, very, very blessed. We've got organisations, well, just like you guys, actually, you know, allowing me some time here. But anybody that sort of supports us, but a lot of businesses will send us funding, and we would buy, you know, virtual reality headsets or the latest desktop PCs, which have just been sponsored. So when kids come in, they get that variation, that diversity of kit, so they can see, you know, what we used to use, what they're using now, and how you can merge them. So if you're using a brand new desktop PC, but you're doing the Turing test, that's quite crazy if you think about it, but it works. So no, we do a lot of that. We've got robotics, we do all the, you know, the Raspberry Pis, the microBic activities, so lots of coding and programming sessions. So we basically try and work with the audience and say, what do you need, and then we'll bring it in, and then we have fabulous volunteers and mentors that give them the support to help. So yeah, it's we're very lucky to have, you know, that engagement.
I suppose you've got two types of visitors, haven't you, as well? So you've got the education side, school children coming in, that kind of thing, and the corporate side as well. And then you've got just regular visitors. So talk about sort of regular visitors. So if I wanted to come to the museum and take a tour around, how do I get there, and how do I get the tickets, and when can I come?
Yep. So we are based on the Bletchley Park estate, which is on the Euston train line. But if you go to our website, which is TNMOC.org, that gives you absolutely everything. So if you go to the Visit Us page, you can visit us physically, and we have an online booking system, but we do welcome drop-ins now. But it's nicer to know who's coming, and, you know, we can sort of receive you and you can sort of have a full day visit. We also do a lot of virtual events as well, because obviously we've, through the sort of the pandemic, sorry, forgive me, I hate to sort of throw those words out, but we've been able to sort of capture a larger audience, and we've connected all over the world in a vast scale than we did before. So we're doing a lot of online talks and lectures from internal and external speakers. There's some really, really good content there, guys. If you miss the talks, we've got a YouTube channel, so you can just search TNMOC. So what we're trying to do is cater for those that aren't quite ready to reconnect physically in society, but also the virtual stuff. And that's the same for education and corporate events. We're here. We're trying to connect with as many people as possible in so many ways. We've just got so much going on. It feels a bit, you know, crazy at the moment, but we're just desperate to share what we have.
So people can come now. You're open now, school holidays and whatever.
Yeah, so we're open. I mean, we do advise, please go to our website, to the Visit Us page, because due to what's gone on recently, we are having to sort of step back on the opening days. We can't quite open sort of 7 days a week again now for the rest of the year, but we are going to be opening 4 days a week. And, you know, we are doing all of the same stuff. So all of the exhibits are there for you. We're not closing any galleries down. So whether you're an education visit, you know, a general visitor, a corporate team building, Christmas parties are coming, guys. You know, we've got a lot. And I have to just plug this, that a team of our volunteers have been working tirelessly on what's going to be Escape the Museum. So if you're looking for a team building event for your family, your friends, your colleagues, you can come book a day's event, and you have to do a variety of puzzles and challenges to escape various rooms in the museum. So we're talking a bit like what was it, Crystal Maze? I'm showing my age now. Yeah. You know, you don't get a crystal, guys, but with countdown timers and the puzzles and challenges they're tricky. So we're really excited to launch those, but we're just trying to be a bit more diverse to say, look, come, we'll take care of you when you're there, you'll have an amazing time, but just seeing what people want out there.
And I should say as well, while we were there, we felt totally safe. Everything was nice and cleaned down, and there was plenty of space and everything else. So there's no worries on that front as well.
Yeah, no, we're still sort of following those government guidelines. So hand sanitizer will never go away now. We are regularly wiping our machines down, where possible. So the exhibits that are hands-on, our team are still choosing to wear masks and face shields, and we welcome visitors to do the same. So yeah, as in looking after the health and safety aspect, we're being very, very cautious with that. But also as well, the visitor experience, we're limiting the number of people coming through the door per session, because I think it's really important that we don't want an overcrowded space because of the COVID issues, but also we want you to enjoy and be able to hear the explanations. So there is a lot to do. I can guarantee you, we take care of you. And, we'll welcome anybody through our door. We are so accessible to everybody.
And there's even a nice little place to get a coffee as well.
It's great coffee as well. You make really good coffee.
I think, yeah, well, when I don't know anyone that doesn't enjoy a really good coffee, but yeah, a very small sort of cafe shop. We have an online shop as well with a few more sort of additions to them. We are constantly trying to review the products we sell, and we work with lots of local partners because I think that's really important to help others continue to grow in this current state. So yeah, and we have outside seating as well. We're limited on space, and what we do is try and put as much within the galleries, in the safe context, to make it immersive and enjoyable. So yeah,
and also it's because it's accessible as well, because you can park right outside, so if you've got any accessibility issues, you can get straight in there.
Yeah, we have full we have ramps, and the majority of things are on ground floor, but where we've got to step up, we've got ramps there. But yes, car parking is all on the same level. Yeah, so I think really accessibility is very, very good. And obviously with what we offer with the computing side of things, we work a lot with the neurodiverse communities, and it's one of my kind of passions actually. So we are accessible. We've got sensory maps for those that might need to be understand where the flashing lights might be or the loud noises. We have hearing defenders. So yeah, we as a museum, I think we have it all there for you. We just need you guys to book and come through the door. We'll take care of the rest.
Gary, did you want to jump in there? I think I interrupted you.
Yeah, actually, I was just going to say about the shop, because I thought the selection of, you mentioned the fact you've been working with local people to get the selection of stuff you've got in there is just brilliant. I could have taken a load of that away with me. It's just it's really, really good, even down to the postcards, which are just fabulous.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that. It's quite funny. We're quite lucky to have partners that quite often approach us, and they actually are sort of grateful if we're willing to sort of support them and promote their books or their we've got a lady that makes fantastic coasters. I know it seems silly, but who doesn't love a coaster or a magnet? Yeah. It's the typical souvenir type stuff, but we've got some really good artwork online. And let me just say, the new bomb book, The Machine That Defeated Enigma, that has just been launched online. I'm really excited, and I have to say the reason I'm really excited is that Sir Dermot Turing, who's really become a sort of friend of the museum, he was absolutely fantastic when we came to him and said, look, we want to put something out there that is really factual, very a very good read with very good images supporting the text, but actually you leave, or having read that book, having a very good understanding of the bomb, why, when, how, and who. We celebrate the people a lot in this, so I'm hoping people will really enjoy that book. There are lots of others, by the way, on our shelves, but that's a new one, and because the team have really heavily been involved in that one. But yeah, I just want to say that as a charity and a museum, I would absolutely welcome anyone that would like to collaborate with us. We do a lot for other charities. We've got an awful lot of free events that we promote as well. So we want to be accessible to those that maybe don't have the opportunity to access museums like us, or the technology, or the the STEM activities that are happening. So please get in touch, because we really want to collaborate with people. And the more people visit and get involved with us, let's talk about mental health. We've all had a really tough and very challenging time. But when people come together and people can do what they love, like our volunteers sharing their knowledge, that's a really big part of well-being, and bringing people back out of, and back into society in a safe way. So, yeah, we want to reach out, support others, and, hope people will come visit.
And I guess that, that this time that we've had over the last 18 months has really hit the museum hard as well, because that's, what you set out that the museum is for people to come and visit, and why you couldn't have the visitors. I guess that really hit hard.
Sorry. Like everybody else on the planet, I know it was really, really tough, but when you've worked so hard, when you've got a community of people that literally have done all they can to help, a museum not only sort of flourish but survive, because there are a lot of challenges running a museum and getting it right and making sure that you can open and welcome people and do the right thing. But the main thing for me was that we really did adapt very quickly to survive. So we created all the online content. A very, very good friend of mine, Keith from Venue View, he basically came in during lockdown and scanned the whole museum for us, because he knew that we could not connect with people without having something visual. And that gave us the ability, which we gave free for anyone in the world, to see the museum. And that really helped us stay connected with people and engaged. So that was important. But it was more the people, the volunteers, obviously our supporters and our trustees and our anyone that's engaged with us, but actually making sure our volunteers were busy and engaged, because 2 or 3 times a week they'd give their time, sometimes travel 2 hours to come to the museum to share their knowledge with our visitors, and suddenly it was taken away. So no, we did a lot there. I mean, they're trying to get certain people on online platforms for calls like this. That's interesting. We've learned a lot, these guys, last couple of years. But look, we survived it. We're very grateful, because other museums I know haven't. But we are nowhere near out the woods, I have to say. Our visitor numbers are not. We're about, goodness, should I admit this? We're probably about 60% down on our daily visitors. Online is obviously, up a little bit. School visits are coming back, which is great, and corporate visits are now coming. Yeah, it will get there, but we have to do it together, and I think collaboration is key.
Yeah, and that's where people can help out then, isn't it? As well as viewing the online content, if possible, if you can get there, it's well worth a day trip down to see it, because it's a fantastic resource. You just have a brilliant day, whether you're an enthusiast, whether you like the old time stuff, you want new stuff. And as Gary said, you don't have to be a geek to enjoy it. The whole family can enjoy it. Absolutely.
No, the other thing I was giggling in the background because I was reading some of Peter Onion's tweets on Twitter. He's a great character. So you've got a really good social media presence, I have to say, amongst both the organisation and the volunteers. And Peter, obviously, one of the top volunteers, and he's definitely tweeting out some great stuff lately.
Yeah, I mean, what we're trying to do is, our mission is to conserve, educate and engage. So we are just about to launch some our new restoration pages, because I don't want people to think we're not restoring things, because we are. We're restoring, we then try to get them out onto display to infuse visitors to buy an annual ticket, to keep coming back, because things are changing. But no, we've got a few of the volunteers, that we've got different age groups, slightly more mature people within the team, but they like to get on social and share what they're doing. If they're restoring or upgrading or repairing or fixing a bit of code, why not share it? I think it's pretty awesome. I think we just need to reach more people. I think people don't know that we're always there. If you want to go and see the National Museum of Computing and see the full collection of code breaking machines and then the history of computing and technology, it is TNMOC on Bletchley Park. It's nowhere else, guys. Yeah.
And I think the volunteers as well, their enthusiasm really comes across as well. We just got totally carried away talking to them, because it is so they are so enthusiastic and passionate about what they do. It really does engage you.
Wow. Yeah. We always need, as I said earlier, more volunteers, but you can come in as a visitor, whether it's schools, education, corporate, you might just pop in to drop a donation off, or you can become a volunteer, and they are awesome people. And I've never, ever, I have to say, in my lifetime of working, been part of such a diverse community that works, that are committed, they respect each other, they support each other. It's pretty special place. And, as you said earlier, you could take away all of the machines and the computers, and they could all stand in various locations and tell you where this machine, what machine stood here and why. And I think you still get it because they are so good. We're lucky we've got both people and machines and computers. So
yeah, so you mentioned that you still want volunteers. So if anybody's interested in this kind of thing and just communicating with people, then they should definitely contact you about that.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got a kind of link on our website that sort of says support us, and you can go down and click volunteering. Now, forgive us, we could list all of the roles that we're willing to kind of welcome people into, but it will be far too many. We're in a World War II building with over 50,000 artifacts. We've got a huge storage room unit just around the corner. We've got so much restoration that needs to happen, and physical events, welcoming people. So I would say if you've got any suggestions or you want to just come and meet the team, do. There's no harm in it. What's the worst that could happen? Actually, I'm going to answer my own question. I came 9 years ago for a cup of tea with Margaret Sale and volunteered in the shop. I haven't left the place since. So they
almost literally, I think.
Yeah. Once you're in, guys. But it's a very special place.
It certainly is.
And are you looking for equipment donation in terms of like historic computers or relative, like Spectrums? Are you after any particular kind of equipment, or do you need any of that kind of stuff?
There are a couple of special items that we are looking for, actually, and we're going to put it up on our Twitter page in the next few days, because we're going to do a sort of a bit of a mini celebration of IBM, because I think there was a lot that went on there. Some things were missed and some things were taken over, but we've got a really nice sort of collection of working things there, so we want to put that on display for people. But we've got one thing missing, so that's going on social media. We always ask you to send an email and either a list or photographs of what you've got, because computing and technology in our museum, I definitely say, can easily help you become a hoarder. You say yes to everything, but then you have to pay for the storage. So we do have a good collection of things. There are certain things that, yes, of course, we'd love to take on. But what we've done is we've collaborated with other computing museums. So if we can't take it in, don't go to landfill, guys. Always contact one of the museums, because, even if we can, restore it, upcycle it, this is the best way forward, I think. Yeah. So yeah, my advice to anyone out there, even an old laptop that you've had for 5-10 years, there are schools in different countries, even locally to us, that will take them because companies are refurbishing for them. Think of the kids that haven't got access to tech. So yeah, we've got a bit of a program going there as well, where we like to, we're trying to do as much as possible not to fill, those sites.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll include a link to the website as well, along with the show notes, so anybody can get that then and can check that out. And I think it's just a fantastic place to visit, and I think you've got your different aspects. You can go as a visitor, go on a weekend, and just nip in for a couple of hours, or spend the whole day there like we did. But you've got the corporate stuff again as well, and the school stuff. I think the corporate and the escape room sounds a brilliant idea. I think I'll be talking about that at my place of work, because I think those kind of things are actually way more engaging than your typical sort of corporate away day of outdoor activities. I think something like that is way more interesting to me.
Yeah, and I think when you get a company that pulls in all of the different departments, then you split them into smaller teams. That's when you show whether you've got people that are good with teamwork. And they're different levels and abilities, these puzzles and challenges. And I'm hoping that people will experience them and hopefully go away and maybe want to try something new. If you are the marketing department but you want to learn how to code, will you leave our museum and go, I want to change my role? Not that I'm not promoting people leaving their jobs, but it's good to learn new things. I think that's really important. And maybe I have to bring you guys down and put you into one of the teams for the test run. That might be.
I once did an escape room as part of a stag do, and everybody said, "Oh well, you're good with computers. You'll be great in it," and we were terrible. So I don't know about that. Yeah. My skills were overestimated.
Well, it depends whether I throw the fancy dress in there as well, and you should see because we've got timers for each of the escape rooms. We've done them in different eras, so that's even that, I think, visually is just great. But I think the sheer panic of watching a particular 1980s machine counting down, and you've got to crack these challenges. So no, I have to say, look, we're blessed. To you guys, I'm really happy that you've given me the time. I'm probably not. You could have got one of the volunteers on here, and they could have gone a lot more technical. But you know what? Let's save that experience for when you guys visit. That's the whole point. I'm trying to entice you, to inspire you to come visit us, and then you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, I can definitely concur with that. Nobody's going to be disappointed with visiting MOC. It is just such it's magical. I said this on the day. It's a magical place, and it truly is.
Yeah, we had a fantastic day, and it is very inspiring. But I think also, Jacqui, your passion for the museum and enthusiasm is equally inspiring, and your enthusiasm is catching, I think, which is exactly what you need.
But it's I'm going to throw. I get told off for saying this, but to be a qualified fishmonger, and now to be in the most, as you say, magical environment, working with such awesome, honestly awesome, inspiring people. And even though I've been there 9 years, there's still stuff I don't know about some of these individuals, so I'm constantly learning. And then the visitors come in and they bring this experience, and especially when a visitor says, oh, I helped develop that, oh, I worked on that, we had one of the first. Honestly, that journey and those memories, I get paid part-time to be there and listen to this. So this is why I'm so excited by it, because it's just a blessing every day.
It's brilliant, and like I said, your enthusiasm is fantastic as well, and I think that's part of the appeal of the place as well. So where's the best place people can go to find where you are and all the details?
Absolutely, guys, you need to note this down. I'm going to do it slowly. www.tnmoc.org. Or you can just Google the National Museum of Computing on Bletchley Park, and you'll find us that way. And I hope you guys get visiting.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Well, we certainly had a great day, and I think we could spend even longer than we actually did, and we were there all day. So yeah, it's brilliant, and I recommend any of our listeners to make the trip. It's well worthwhile, and even if you're not in the UK or you can't make it down there, to check out the website, because it's a fantastic resource as well. So Jacqui, really appreciate you joining us today from this week's show, and we'll make sure that we get you back on a future show, because as you said, things are changing all the time, so you can update us when you've got some new things that we can talk about.
Yeah, and my last thing I'd say, guys, is check out the events calendar if you do nothing else on our website, because you will be pleased to see what's going on. Guys, you are amazing. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you both very soon.
Well, Gary, that was fantastic.
It was, as ever, and the other thing I'd just urge people to do, because I've done this, I thought about starting a campaign for them, which sorry, because obviously they got the relationship with Turing, the book recently, and we know that the Turing is now the new face of the £50 note. So I've given a Turing to support them, and I urge anybody else listening to do so, because they need support. I mean, not necessarily £50, but they have got a sponsorship page on the website, and I think you can make donations there, and it's really easy as well. So I think I think they obviously will take anything they can get to help them, and it's easily done. But they're really good, and we've got potential for something next week for people to actually engage with anyway.
Yeah, so I think we're going to have some nice prizes or some nice little treats from the museum. So we're going to have a competition starting on next week's show as well. So if you're interested, well, listen to next week's show and you'll find out. And I think we're going to come up with something nice from related to that as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I won't challenge too hard.
Yeah, that's right. And check out the website. I'll include a link in the show notes. TNMOC.org, and you can go and book your tickets on there and everything. And like I mentioned, we had a great day, and it is and if you're looking to take the family out, especially with the weather, it seems the British summertime seems to be a lot of wet weather. It was a good day out and occupy the kids if you're looking to keep the kids entertained, and free on-site parking. It's nice and easy to get to, and it's a good fun day out.
Yeah, it really is highly recommended.
Yeah,
even if I haven't done it on a trip for TripAdvisor, it's still very highly recommended.
Yeah. So we should be back same time, same place next week with our more regular show. We've got lots of things to catch up on. Actually, I'm talking about running Windows 11 on my Lumia 950 XL. The machine still lives.
Talking about something we should be in TNMOC.
Yeah, definitely. And we got some more Windows 11 news as well to talk about next week as well. So yeah, we'll be back at the same time. So Gary, where can we find you?
You can find me all over Twitter at Gary with 2 R's WMA. And I'll at some point I'll be tweeting out that the next issue of Fascinating Tech Stuff. We've had a few technical issues, but I should be able to get back onto our site now and publish it. So yeah, that should be coming up shortly.
Fantastic. You catch me on Twitter at ISDixon. I've posted quite a few videos since we last talked, so Windows 11 builds and how to trial it, how you can get onto the Windows Insider program and try Windows 11 now if you're ready. So we'll be back same time, same place next week. Till see you then.
Take care. Bye.